Our friends. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for another Orc Mode workout. And today was max effort squat day. Quick reminder for those of you who watch these videos, please click like down below. It would be greatly appreciated, and click like on my squat preview for the max earlier too. Thank you so much. Let's get over to the training. As I said, I'm going to go back to doing box squats. Why? I feel like my lower body mechanics have drifted too far into high bar mechanics again. I really need to learn to sit back again more, and I need to consistently hit really deep depths. And for me, and again, I've shown from the side and rear angles before, a lot of people are like, oh, this is breaking parallel from the front. No, this is below parallel. This is inches below parallel for me. 12-inch box, I am at least like 2 inches below parallel. So this is a lower box than I need. However, I want that practice of hitting that deep box. And some people commented, man, it looked like you were struggling to get under there. That's correct. My shoulders are doing a lot better, but everything is still a little tight, working on everything. It's improving. I am physically able to use this bar today, so I chose to. Now the 502 was stupidly easy. So I made a 50-pound jump. Now the 552 was not that pretty. But that felt easy enough that I'd get 552. Now, people say, why did the 552 look ugly? I slipped out of my groove. I slipped out of my groove when I got to the box, and I let my torso go back probably a hair too far. So therefore, it caused me to compensate on the way back up. Had I kept more forward lean, this would have looked a lot prettier. I mean, it was still strong. It was still pretty fast. If you run it through a timer, it's technically faster than a true max should be. Although looking at the mechanics, it still looks like a true max, but the speed would kind of suggest otherwise. But still, nice good pause on the box, drive up. But notice that amount of lean I did forward on the way back up, and it's because I slipped a little bit out of my groove, and it caused me to do that. However, I was still strong enough to push through and lock it. So I also decided I was going to do some fives. It became problematic today. I left those pins in the same position, but because I was still kind of practicing getting under that bar, again, I went into a little lower down my back, and I hit the safeties. The safeties that I completely missed with the max, I hit them on every single rep, and it really took a lot out of me. So these sets were hard, and I moved the safeties down for the next set. If you guys watch this, the buffalo bar hit them every time. See that? I hit them. Like, man, that sucks too. My God, did it mess up my groove, because I hit them on all 5 reps. And I was like doing it going, what in the hell? I didn't tap them with 502 or 552. What's going on? And this is just 431. I thought I was going to come in and get 3 by 5. And it might take me a while to build 3 sets of fairly heavy box squats, right? Might take some work. Also, for people who will ask stuff like, how much do people get out of the buffalo bar? You don't. I have never seen any coach ever in the world suggest that your buffalo bar or your straight bar is not the exact same weight. It's just easier on your shoulders. And that's why, because I went to mess with the straight bar and it didn't feel right, so I threw the buffalo on instead. Like, I actually tried to ramp up a little bit, and I just couldn't get my shoulder to feel right. So I'm not quite where I need to be, but a week ago I couldn't do this bar. So we know that all the dead hangs are helping. They're helping a lot. And the fact that I'm benching with the buffalo bar with no pain. And people will say, hey, why are you pushing those limits? Because we have to. Okay, we have to push those limits. Coming back off of that injury, I have to rebuild under serious loading the mobility and range of motion. I have to. But this time I know what stuff contributed. And that's something I'll discuss in the next upper day. People are like, oh my God, you would actually consider chin-ups again. Only if they pass my litmus test. And I broke that down. But yes, we have to push these limits. Until I get under there and get those stretch on my shoulders and get these other bars back up on top of my back, it's not going to get better. Okay? And no, it was not comfortable at all. It wasn't comfortable at all. But I'm going to have to get out of that comfort zone. As long as we're not causing damage. But you know what? I have to push all the different angles of my shoulder joint through their ranges of motion. I have to stretch them. I have to move them. okay? If I'm going to regain 100% shoulder health, I can't let those things build up and stay for months and months and months and months and not stretch those positions. I have to build all the musculature, and we have to regain all that range of motion. We have to. And that means I'll have to do things like that. And I'm going to have the straight bar to compete again anyways. So, you know, do what we have to do. And no, it's not comfortable, but nothing I do is comfortable. I mean, realistically, you guys watch my training and a lot of the stuff I do. If you think there's anything comfortable about my training, you clearly have never tried to do some of these things. So, what do we do next? After those box squats, we went with good mornings. You guys are going to notice this is looking like a lot of my more classic accessories because they work for me. So I've got to build the box squat up. Because my box squat built my back squat. People are like, how'd you get to that 605 with that cambered bar? I built all that strength off of the box squat and box squat accessories, and I pulled the box out because I had a 535 with that bar on the box. I had a 552 off of a box with the bar I just did. I've replicated that, but I think I did it off a 1-inch deeper box just now. Okay. First time coming back to a box and still getting the mechanics down again. Okay, I had a 535 with that bar off the box. I got it to 565 within weeks of pulling the box out. And then we took it all the way up to 605. Box squat built my squat. So I need to be looking at what lifts will build my box squat. I'm going to need a lot more hamstrings. I'm going to need belt squats, all these things. Okay. Good mornings. I'm going to rotate bars on the box squats. I'm going to rotate bars on the good mornings a little more. All right, we'll rotate through them. Today I chose to do this. Maybe next time I'll do the cambered bar. Keep the variation going and push them hard. If we did 5s for that, then everything else has been 10 plus. You guys will notice, you know, a few of the lifts for the upper body, I do 5s and everything else 10s. It's like half and half right now after the maxes. This is only going to be a little bit of 5s, a lot of 10s, and then some real high stuff. Because again, my lower body responds a little better to the higher reps overall. But we're having a nice balance for the upper. But again, I hit my normal sets for this, and I managed to get more than 10 before, but those box squats fatigued me a bit, so I kind of called it right there at 10, on 3 sets of 10 with that weight, which in theory, 3 sets of 10 with that weight, I should still be able to hit at least a 5-pound PR next time I max on that. I don't want to max on good mornings for a while. So let's talk about what's going on. I had that lat strain from my second max, which was a good morning of the day, the other day. I thought about it. I even chatted with a very, very experienced coach who's also a master's lifter. Coaches a lot of elite lifters, Dr. Alan Bacon. We chatted about it. And he actually even said, look, man, you're in your 40s. Like, maybe you shouldn't be doing 2 maxes in a workout. You can get by on 1. You'll be fine. You're not going to lose strength. And that was some words of wisdom that I took on board. And I decided, look, I need to just do 1 max every workout. 1 max. That's it. Then come in and build all my hypertrophy accessories. So what do we do here after those glute ham raises, which again, people say, why those? I wanted to work my hamstrings back in. I need more hamstring. Especially if I'm in a box squat. I need those hamstrings stick. I'm going to treat them like a weak point. We know my back, my grip, right? Triceps. We'll treat hamstrings like a weak link again, so they'll get a little more volume than the other stuff, right? And I kind of did these in between to give myself a break because I sometimes get crampy after glute ham raises, so that's a great time to do the rows or the grip work. Now those look heavy because I went up 5 pounds. That is the heaviest I have ever rode an axle bar in my life, and I managed to get 3 sets of 10 with it today. I went up to 225. Remember when I used to do 10s with the regular bar with 225? Of course, now I'm doing 5s with 295. I was doing 10s with 250 plus. Right? We're up to 225 with that axle bar. And I feel like that is amazing grip training, and then it gives me that extra lat, rear delt work and all that. That's why I said yesterday, I'm not going to do the extra sets for those muscles. Why? Because I'm going to start doing axle bar rows on these days too. So we're getting a lot of volume. I mean, the real work is in certain lifts. It's going to be in the main row. But then all this other volume coming from that axle bar, it accumulates. I mean, if I do it the way I'm doing it, that's going to be 12 sets a week of just the axle bar rows. That's not counting my really heavy sets, my 6 heavy sets with the deadlift bar. So what do we do with these things? I did sets of 12 to 10 now. My record is 13 with a 10 pounder. The 12s felt pretty hard today, and I didn't want to start cramping up. So I called it a rep short of what I had done last time when I was doing glute ham raises a couple of weeks back. But yeah, I'm going to work those glute ham raises in. Why? Because they'll help box squats. Also, let's come over to deadlifts. Hamstrings may not be my weak link on deadlifts right now, but let's talk even thickness, injury prevention, all that stuff. Glute ham raise will save you a lot of grief. And I've said that before, that every time I've pulled hamstrings deadlifting is when I've gone at least 6 months without doing any good mornings. Good mornings help me big time with preventing hamstring pulls. Okay. This will too. I mean, this gives us complete hamstring development. And I know my form looks a little weird on these, but it's just the angles that I get into. So if people, I've actually had someone say, well, why don't you just sit up straight and straighten your back? I am. That's what I feel like I'm doing when I perform the exercise. But I do come all the way down and lock my knee. But even when I do these with just body weight, even on the easier settings, this is just my natural position. And to me, when I'm doing it from a body awareness perspective, I can't even tell I'm bent at the hip at all. I don't feel it. But I always notice I get my hips light up. My actual abductors get a pump. They get a pump when I do these. And that's probably why. But the hamstrings are really where I feel the real work. I get hamstring cramps all the time after doing those. And a lot of it's because, again, I do go through the full range of motion and I do come all the way down at the bottom with my knee. So again, I'm putting that hamstring into a stretch position at the hardest point. So again, best hamstring exercise you could probably do. And I think people could argue that taken with heavy enough weights and everything, a hamstring curl could probably replicate it. I'm not going to say it can't. It probably can. So I'm not saying you have to have a glute ham raise to have complete hamstring development. It's a real nice tool to have, though, especially when you combine it with a good morning. And of course, I feel them on reverse hypers, but I feel them a little less if I focus on pointing my toes forward. Then it really becomes glute and low back. But it's still a hamstring exercise, so my hamstrings do get really 9 sets. But they're such an important stabilizer on the box squat too. And then we're doing our belt squats. Went with the 320 again. So people say, where do you get that? That looks like 315. That chain is 5 pounds. So I'm counting it. Not counting the belt, but the chain itself is 5 pounds. And since I have to use it to rig it up, I might as well count it. Because when I was using a lighter chain or just like canvas straps with lighter weight, I used to not count those because it didn't weigh anything. But I'm having to use heavier rigging to make sure I don't break anything. Because I've broken rigging doing this. I mean, we're not playing. We're getting past 300 pounds on here. You better have pretty secure stuff, latches and everything. So I've broken eye hooks and stuff. And you don't want that dropping on your foot. So I use heavier stuff. I'm using things that should be able to take thousands of pounds. So if anything breaks, it'll be that belt. But it's rated to pretty damn high weights too. Getting into position is the hard part. And I've already said, if I can get to where I can add one more plate to this, my God. I think that's going to put me where I need to be on my squatting. Because again, extrapolate the math. You guys seen me do 605 on a cambered bar. Okay. Doing like half of that sort of weight now. So what's another plate? 45, and you double it over again to the carryover. You know, another 90 pounds on my squat. You know, I think when I get to 8 plates, we're going to have a winner. And that's going to be a slow fight. I've built up to this, but even today I got 2 sets of 10, and then I cranked out an 11th rep on the last one. I just went for it. I got there, I'm like, I can do another rep. So I did. But again, these lit everything up. I mean, this was a hard training session. This was a tough training session today. And I don't feel destroyed or beat up, but I definitely know that I trained. And those rep work on the box squats, like my legs did not like that. Like the whole upper calf on the inside, kind of where all that tendon pulls in and the adductor, all that ties in down into the calf, was really kind of inflamed. I ran the massager on it before I did the good mornings. So again, hitting some new angles here, getting those box squats back in, and those are deep boxes. This is a little harder to judge depth sometimes, and some of the reps hit depth, some don't. And I try to just go as low as I can due to the swing. So, it varies a lot rep to rep, set to set. But I try to just open my hips up, and a lot of it depends on how much I can get the hips open with this. And a lot of times I'm fighting the discomfort on the straps. But the point here, I think when we combine this with the deep box squats, everything should be good, because we should get carryover on the degrees for the hypertrophy purposes, even if I don't quite get the depth I always want on those. And sometimes it's really hard to judge. I almost need to do some filming from the side to really see where I'm at. Front angle is terrible for me, which we've demonstrated in the past by using different cameras, different camera angles. Even when I box squatted, there were people like, oh, that box looks high, until I take a camera to the side, and it's like, oh, you broke depth. Yeah. The box today, no one's going to argue that that was high, but that's a 12-inch box. That's a relatively deep box for me. Like we know from past footage, that's 2 inches below parallel for me. So a 14-inch box barely breaks parallel. Then a 13 is just below. But I want that deeper box. I want to practice finding the foot positions that will let me sit back and get that deep position. And again, box squats are just harder. They're just harder. So I think I'm going to stick with boxes for a while. And the goal needs to be, can I get several of my bars up to at least 600 off of a box? My God, we can do that. I think we're at money there. Same thing, I'll try to take that camber bar and let's set a goal of 550 on the box. Or I'm sorry, the safety squat bar. I think that'll be reasonable. Try to get the other 3 bars all to 6 off the box. Because by the way, my box squat is weaker with the cambered bar. So a lot of people said, wow, you got really strong on back squats with it. Yeah, but it was my 3rd weakest bar. I have done more with a straight bar and with a buffalo bar on a box squat than I have been able to with the cambered bar. Which was interesting to me that it shot up so fast and became my strongest bar very, very quickly when I went to back squats, because it was not my strongest bar on the box. Just different mechanics. We need to get all of them to 600. And then I went up 5 pounds on the reverse hypers today. Instead of putting a pair of 10s, I put a 25. 475. And I felt them. I don't know, man. I felt that 5 pounds today. We would laugh and say you shouldn't be able to feel that. Today I did. They felt heavy. But it's probably because I did those glute ham raises. But I got my target reps. I got my 3x25. But I didn't feel like I could have done more. It's not one of those, well, I could have squeezed out 2 or 3 more reps. No. Especially the last set. I was done. But everything felt good. I'm very happy with today's workout, even though the 552 is a little ugly. Even though I hit the safety on all the reps on the first set of rep work on the box squats, I'm still very happy with today's workout. I mean, we got a little bit of PRs in there on some supplemental lifts, and it felt great. So I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.